Good morning and welcome to the AM News. Our very first story this morning, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has reiterated the commitment of the Kwadaso administration in fighting corruption. Dr. Bawumia says several declarations have been made in the past indicating a desire to combat it, but these have largely failed. As a result, the Kwadaso administration has decided to digitize the process of interaction. He wants politicians to uphold high moral standards. Country strives to promote a common set of objectives and beliefs. Dr. Bawumia was speaking at the 76th graduation ceremony of the Trinity Theological Seminary in Legon.
In today's world, it has become important that countries deliberately develop a society of persons who are not merely prepared for jobs, but are also set for ongoing growth in all aspects of life to make a difference in the world. As Ghanaians, we could build a distinct moral identity and constitute a reference point for people of other nations. It is one of the things that every political party and politician talks about and has talked about over the years. But it is one of the things that as a nation, we have done very little about over the years, but we keep talking about it. We have killed people in the past to stop corruption, and it has not worked. We have passed many laws, and they have not been enforced. We have appealed to people's senses, and it has not worked. And yet, we try to continue. We are continuing to build a nation. But we are building this nation on weak foundations. If you don't address some of these fundamental issues, like corruption, you will continue building and then rebuilding and rebuilding. Every politician, I think, who has held office or who is holding office should be made to answer that question. What did you do or what are you doing about corruption? What are the concrete measures are we taking to deal with corruption, or have you taken to deal with corruption?
Now, onion traders at Kwadaso and Kumasi are worried they will be losing their trading space to a private developer if the local authority fails to protect their interest. Secretary to the traders, John Amos, described the approach adopted by the authorities as unfair and wants the authorities to reconsider the move. Muhammad Nuruddin has more.
At the time the news team got to the market, work had already begun on the land. Secretary to the onion traders, John Amos, says some sub-chiefs from Kwadaso had approached them to explain the land is being sold. We have been here for a long time until 2 years ago when the chiefs told us they wanted to sell the land. They told us it will cost 700,000 Ghana cedis. They agreed to take us to Otumfo so that we could pay for the land, but we never met him. We could not also pay without meeting Otumfo.
3-6 months.
He is, however, surprised at the sudden turn of events of excavator works to clear the land. Suddenly, we saw excavator works on the land. At least, if you want to kick us out, we should get notice so that we can find ways. Traders have tried unsuccessfully to further discuss the matter. The onion traders are unhappy about the situation.
are fine. At least we know the government is a listening government, and we know with time, at least we'll be able to arbitrate with the elders and all that, so that at least they'll come to our aid. Then at least we're able to at least continue with our business, because looking at this ripple effect, it's going to have a toll on the government, and the unemployment, it's on the high and all that. So we are pleading, even per at least the master plan they brought, at least a site that has been proposed for, at least there has been a proposed site that was somewhere 2013 there about, but that shouldn't be the case. We've been here for 10 years and we came here somewhere 2011, so at least they should have involved us so that we'll know what to do.
They are therefore appealing to the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II to help resolve the issue.
Don Allah Otumfuo nka ji sakon mu muna roƙon ka mu masu goyo ne. Ina da yara biyu suna university, guda na UGS, guda na university, guda na poly.
We are pleading with Otumfuo because we have children who depend on us for their educational needs. This is where we get our daily bread. Now vehicles cannot come here to offload onions.
Musayar ba wani. Shi yasa ba mu da karfi, ku ne manyan mu, ku taimaka muna saboda Allah. Manyan da suke jin mu duka su taimaka muna. Ba mu da karfi, ku ne manyan mu. Abinda kuka faɗi shi zamu yi aiki da shi, mun gode.
In 2011, the onion traders were moved from racecourse by the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly to the Kwadaso market. Attempts to speak to the municipal chief executive proved futile. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Veterinary officers have begun fumigating the Ejiso cluster of pig farms where African swine fever has killed more than 3,000 pigs. It comes after they had earlier asked the farmers to find means to buy chemicals to disinfect the farms themselves. Officials of the Ejiso Veterinary Service say they received support from the national office through the Ashanti Regional Office. Prince Apia reports.
A team of technical health officers from the Ejiso Veterinary Service have been fumigating the pens and farm spaces of the Ejiso cluster of pig farms. This comes after we reported that more than 3,000 of the pigs there have been killed by the African swine fever disease. Now, the cluster has less than 50 pigs weighing 50 kilos and below. Earlier, the Ejiso Veterinary Service had asked the farmers to find means and buy chemicals to disinfect the farms themselves, something the farmers were struggling to do because they had lost their investment. But on Friday, officials of the Ejiso Veterinary Service received support from the national office through the Ashanti Regional Office to start the disinfection that will now relieve the farmers of the headache. The exercise lasted for a day, but it's unclear if the team will return to continue. The farmers, meanwhile, are awaiting clearance to restart the operations. But in the meantime, the farmers are still collating the necessary data for proper assessment and possible compensation by health officials, the Agric Ministry, and the Ejiso Municipal Assembly. Prince Apia reporting.
Executive Director of the Christian Health Association of Ghana, Dr. Peter Yeboah, says the high dependency unit will help manage moderate to severe COVID-19 cases in the Bono region and beyond. Now, he explained that the unit will also serve and provide a buffer for COVID-19 case management in the operational areas. Dr. Yeboah spoke during the inauguration of the HDU Treatment Center for COVID-19 patients at Brekum Holy Family Hospital, funded by UK Aid. Precious Semerville has more.
The High Dependency Unit was refurbished and equipped by the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office and Christian Health Association of Ghana's COVID-19 Response and Institutional Capacity Building Project, funded by the UK Aid. The 10-bed unit facility stocked with a state-of-the-art machines, including a monitor, perfuser, ventilator, oxygen concentrator, and pneumatic compression device, adds to the two in Boko and Akwatia. Dr. Peter Yeboah, Executive Director of CHAG, said a special unit was required to enhance the ongoing COVID-19 response and towards pandemic preparedness, hence the HDU to complement the efforts of government and other stakeholders in health.
And so we believe that whilst people living in cities can have access to advanced case management centers, the same cannot be said of those living in remote and underserved areas. And so in addressing this gap, The high dependency units have been established to enable district hospitals to manage very severe COVID cases in rural areas without necessarily sending them to the national treatment centers in Accra. We need a system that will enhance early case detection, identification, and better management of patients who can quickly deteriorate, particularly patients with multiple comorbidities.
89 deaths from 2,111 COVID-19 cases have been recorded in the Bono regionals of 2nd November 2021. The Regional Health Director, Dr. Kofi Amokodie, attributes the high figures to the people not taking the pandemic seriously enough.
At first, they thought it was only in the bigger cities. Then they said the government wanted to get money. That's why the government was proclaiming that there's COVID, and a whole lot of stories. To the extent that if somebody loses their life, we as health workers come at risk of being attacked because they think that the bodies should be released to them for them to bury the bodies as they normally do. We have to be really thankful to all the development partners who have made this facility a reality for us to use, because we were having a challenge in managing the severely ill COVID cases.
Development Director at the British High Commission in Ghana, Elizabeth Ashley Cadman, who inaugurated the unit, urged the staff of the Holy Family Hospital to continue raising the standard of healthcare delivery services. She, however, appealed to all to ensure COVID cases do not surge again during Christmas.
The fight against COVID-19 continues, and we must ensure we're ready for every bout. As we enter December's festive period, we must all play our part in averting another surge in cases. Get vaccinated now if you've not already done so. Encourage your families, neighbours and communities to also get the vaccine. Observing Ghana's COVID-19 safety protocols. To comply is to help lower transmission, protect health services and put economic recovery on firm footing. I can assure you the UK remains your partner and is improving the health and well-being of all for a strong and prosperous Ghana.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Brekum.
In our very last story for this morning, the Volta Tidal Wave Relief Fund, established by some eminent Ghanaians from the Volta region with the support of the Ghana Association of Bankers, MTN, Ghana Foundation, Ashfoam and Corporate Ghana, have provided more relief items to persons affected by the storm surge that devastated communities along the coastline of the region. Coordinator of the fund, Mauko Afajinu, says the items will help mitigate the difficulties of persons affected by the tidal waves. He and the Deputy Director of the National Disaster Management Organization, Seji Saji Amedonu, spoke to Joy News.
Great work you've done here today.
Great work to the contributors who just made it possible, and the fact that they lived it up, the fact that they are giving hope and belief to all the victims. I mean, a week today, you can imagine how they felt. This morning is a different narrative. Thanks to all the good people of this country, especially Corporate Ghana. I'm very grateful to the Ghana Association of Bankers, to MTN Foundation, to Ashfoam, to every single individual who is contributed to make today happen. And remember, today is just the beginning. In a sense, this is a foundation, a foundational pillar that we've laid. Beyond this, beyond the temporary immediate relief, there are more medium-term issues that have to be considered. And we are looking at being able to raise enough resources to be able to go back to the communities, and based on the areas of the most need, we help with the rehabilitation and possibly reconstruction of shared spaces such as schools, such as ships compounds, such as health facilities, and any other related structures within the community, so that to the extent possible, we get lives back again. Now, having said that, I believe that another leg will be going forward, also ensuring that the conversation around climate change and what we should do and how we should take care of our environment and our spaces to ensure that situations such as this are not worsened would also become a key part of our interventions, because we need to support our people to live it up. We need to support our people to have as normal lives as possible. We need to support them in such a way that is sustainable and that will ensure that this beautiful land we have is here not only for this generation but for generations yet unborn.
Okay, great. So finally, how are you hoping these relief items will mitigate the difficulties of the people?
So the target is that every single person, and with the numbers we've heard is 4,000. Now the mattresses that have been received so far, today we brought 3,000. We know some other mattresses have been donated. And if you put it all together, we want it to be the case that every single person who was displaced is sleeping on a mattress, has a pillow, is in a mosquito net, has food to eat, have the basic detergents to take care of themselves, especially in this era of the pandemic, and to the extent possible, have a semblance of normalcy in their lives.
The words that NADMO is set up to do things like this. It is not the sole responsibility of NADMO alone to provide everything. That is why, in the wisdom of the framers of the law of NADMO, they instituted what we call the Disaster Management Committee at every district. This committee is chaired by the District Chief Executive and includes every stakeholder. The head of every agency at the district is a member of this committee.
And that's it for the AM News this morning. The AM show continues right after this.